5.3 Modify Selection. Welcome to this lecture where we'll explore the main ways through which you can modify your selections. Use any images you like. It won't affect the outcome. I'll use this one from the resource folder. Now I will drag a random selection, say this rectangular marquee selection tool, anywhere on my canvas, so we can start exploring some of our options. First, if you switch to the Move tool by hitting V on your keyboard, and with an active selection from the options bar on your canvas, you can cut out that area by clicking and dragging that selected part. This will reveal our checkered background because there's nothing underneath our layer. Please note, this only works on raster layers. Of course, this isn't helpful in this format because this area that was repositioned is still on the same layer. Let's undo by hitting Ctrl Z. And this time, I'll use Ctrl J. Remember, this command is used to duplicate a layer or a folder. Here, it extracts this selection to a new layer. And now, this is much more useful. Let me hit F12 so we can continue. If that hotkey doesn't work, go to the top menu and click on File. From here, choose Revert. If you are on a Mac, the tab is called Photoshop. With another selection active, you can right-click it and select everything else on the canvas through this Select Inverse option. This is fantastic for situations where you have to affect a large image except for one small part. Rather than selecting everything and isolating the tiny area, you'd rather get the small selection and then use this Select Inverse command by right-clicking the selection. Moving on, any selection can be feathered even if you didn't use this input field from the options bar. No matter what tool you have used to create a selection, you can right-click and choose Feather. And as we've discussed previously, if you want to see its effect, you'll have to fill this area with color. Use Ctrl-Alt along with the Delete key. Alternatively, you can use Shift F5, and this brings up the Fill command. Choose any color, and you will now see the feather effect. All these options are highly valuable because intricate selections take a long time to create. After you are done, you may want to slightly adjust it. Here I want to include another 2 or 3 pixels in this selection. Not a problem. Go to the top menu and click on Select. From this list, choose Modify and then Expand. From this pop-up, input your pixel value, and this is how much Photoshop will add around your current selection. Here, I will go with something generous like 50 pixels, so you can see the difference. And there you go. This works the other way around. You can contract your selections just in case you select it too much your layer. This command doesn't have a hotkey either, So we will have to use that top menu yet again. Click on Select and then Modify. Now hit Contract. Enter your value and you are good to go. Please note, this apply effect at canvas bound is helpful only if you are using Ctrl A to select the entire canvas. One last feature that creates an interesting look is border. This lies in the same menu system. Let me bring it up and I will show you how easy it is to get a nicer effect going. Simply go to the menu and search for Select. Then go to Modify and finally the border. Okay, now it's applied. And you can do all sorts of things with it, but here I'll just fill it with the color white by pressing Ctrl Delete. Great stuff. Let me clear up my potential confusion. If I right click, you'll see two transform options, Free Transform and Transform Selection. Their names tell their story, but I would rather explain it just to be safe. Free Transform is what you get when you press Ctrl T. Thus, if you select it from the list, you'll be able to resize the selected area. Okay, that's Free Transform. Let's continue. On the other hand, Transform Selection from this right click is highly useful. And I encourage you to use it whenever you have tricky spots. Once you enable it, you'll get similar handles like you get with Ctrl T. Only this time, you are only adjusting your selection and not your actual pixels. As you can imagine, this will come in handy in lots of situations. If you right click, you'll get all sorts of options we have discussed about already. For me, the star of the show is Distort. This is what you will most likely need in your real-world projects. You can either select it or you can hold the Control key while in Free Transform mode by pressing Ctrl Z, and that does the same thing. Notice that as I go over my edge, my cursor changes into handles. Photoshop tells me I can grab this area and fool around with it. But if I hold down the Control key, this changes my cursor yet again. And now I'm using the Distort command. Through it, I can adjust the selection to all sorts of irregular shapes. And that's where you'll need it the most. For this lecture, I've used mainly a rectangular selection. But believe me, you'll have to select all sorts of random shapes and this is bound to come in handy. Okay, that's it regarding modifying selections. We have a few other interesting options, but we'll cover those in the next lectures. Please continue to watch the upcoming ones so we can get the full picture. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, as always, stay creative.